Are you a gamer looking for your clan? If you answered yes, there's a place absolutely perfect for you. It's called Clan Finder, online at clanfinder.gg. The website was founded by gamers who were committed to keeping the site updated with the latest titles, adding new features to further assist in advertising your community across the globe, and bringing on gaming studios that want to give back to their players. Helping support charities from around the world, Clan Finder helps gaming communities promote their organizations to fellow gamers who are looking for a place to call home. Long gone are the days when you had to scour forums, stem discussions, and sketchy websites to find a new gaming clan. Go to clanfinder.gg and search for your clan today. Clanfinder.gg.
Are you looking for a change of pace in your normal podcast lineup that you have on your phone? Well, then check out the Protectors podcast. It's available on Buzzsprout, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and it's hosted by Jason Piccolo. And he's been in law enforcement for over 20 years. He's patrolled trafficking corridors as a U.S. border agent near San Diego. So what exactly does he do on this podcast? He interviews guests from best-selling authors to military heroes to everyday protectors. They're really fun. They have everyone from Jack Carr to Max Martini. There's over 370 episodes. I'd really recommend you guys check this out, guys. Very well done, very professional, and very listenable. It's called The Protectors Podcast, available on the Apple Podcast stream. It's available on Spotify or Google Podcasts, and of course on Buzzsprout. Go check out The Protectors Podcast.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the Monday Night Raw review on this Tuesday, October 4th, 2022. And we're going to get to Monday Night Raw. A Raw that is following the same theme that we've seen over the last several weeks and months now. I don't hate it, but it's becoming a pattern. Take that for a positive or negative. And what I mean by that is lengthy wrestling matches, tons of faction heat. That's the general rule for Triple H's regime thus far. If you're going to sum it up, it's let's have longer wrestling matches and let's bring in factions and get massive heat on them. Massive extended heat on them. With Bayley's damage control and with the Judgment Day, always just beating down somebody at the end of Raw, or in this case, Bayley standing tall, holding the Raw Women's Championship. And we're gonna cover all of that. We're also going to get to a mailbag item at the end of the show that I did not put on last week because I just simply missed it. And that's Mr. DJ Kuzmo. He joined us on the live show, but I missed the mailbag email and voicemail. We'll do that at the second half of our Raw review. And I also may be really kind of embracing the live format. Now, the live format is kind of a hit and miss thing for me. I'm not saying I'm doing it tomorrow for the mailbag. In fact, tomorrow is the mailbag for Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. They will be doing the email portion as they do with every pay-per-view week that we have, and this is no exception. Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan are going to take your emails. So any emails you've sent me through this week or up through, let's say, like late afternoon Eastern time tomorrow, I'll forward on to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. I'll do all the voicemails, but I will be likely doing a live show for the pay-per-view coming up on Saturday, Extreme Rules. I might even do a live preview show. Review shows are hard. I know it makes more sense to do a review show, given that everyone's pumped up and they want to talk about what happened. I'm not saying no to that, but it's difficult when the show sometimes ends 11 or after, and then, by that time, I'm so exhausted, to be honest, that I don't want to be a zombie for that type of format. I want to be on my toes and be able to talk to you guys. I'm not saying no, but assume no unless you hear something from me. But I believe I'm bringing in somebody, I can't remember who it is, from our Patreon family to review the Extreme Rules event this coming weekend. And either way, I'll be doing a live show, more than likely for the preview show that you can chime in at. I don't have the link yet. If you want to know what the link is, just keep on my Twitter feed at wrestling_audio. Follow me there. Or become a patron. I post that out to all patrons, usually before anyone else has an opportunity to get to it or see it. So become a patron at patreon.com/WWE podcast. But you can also follow us on Blog Talk Radio. That's where you can find our show. And you guessed it, it's under the WWE podcast. So if you want to know anytime we post a show, that'll be also where it is at. So I think that's all for the housekeeping. It's a big week, as always, when we have these pay-per-view weeks. And the next time that we do this, it'll be the beloved favorite Crown Jewel event. I believe that is November 5th or something like that. So it'll be an interesting day at the office, as they say, when Logan Paul takes on Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. And next week, for both Raw and SmackDown, it's the season premiere. What that means is we don't know. Apparently, there's no draft right now. It's just, I like at least how they're doing the season premiere, not in the middle of a pay-per-view cycle like they've done in the past. I remember they did the draft like in the middle of a pay-per-view cycle. It made no sense. And it's like, just start clean the Monday after a pay-per-view. And that's what Triple H is doing, at least with a season premiere, whatever the hell that is. It means nothing other than, it's not like there's seasons of WWE because everything's just ongoing. They're just keeping up with the lingo, or rather keeping up with what other shows are actually doing in promoting season premieres. Whatever. I don't care. It's just a sign that they're starting fresh next Monday and next Friday with post Extreme Rules going into Crown Jewel. So, okay, let's talk about Monday Night Raw again. A show that saw a lot of heel heat, particularly for factions. That's been a trend over several weeks now, really getting these groups heat and not just letting baby faces overcome them easily anyway. It's been nice to see. It's been frustrating, but in a good way, where you want to see somebody take down Judgment Day. You want to see Finn Balor and Damian Priest get their ass handed to them. Dominic and Rey had not really much more of a progression other than a really nice line by Dominic, and something so simple that it's almost impossible that it was missed up until this point. And that's Dominic telling his father he hates him. How he said, "I hate you." The way he said it was just brilliant. And it's so effective, such a small thing, such a simplistic, elementary, pedestrian thing to say. Just high school crap really is super effective in the right context. Because like any of us that have kids, or even if you don't, can you imagine your child telling you sincerely that they hate you? Not just in a fit of rage, but just when they're calm, telling them they hate you. I think when they're calm and they say it, it's more effective than if they're screaming, because you know it's coming from a place of rage instead of a place of, clear mind, and they've thought through this and they really mean it. That to me that was just so effective, and it was just like, wow, cool. And then Rey, still again with Dominic on his knees, daring his father to hit him, doesn't. The old Rhea from behind, because no one can touch Rhea because she's a woman. It's ridiculous. But that's been the formula, and I'm fine sticking to it so far. But let's dive into a little bit more about what happened on Monday Night Raw. And the Bayley and Bianca thing, let me talk about that too. I know that ended Raw, but Bayley and Bianca, I think, really upped their game. And I don't think they were even, as good as they were, I don't think they were the segment of the night. I'll get to that. But they were spot on here. This was a promo that needed to happen. The contract signing is it's a typical contract signing that just devolves into chaos. That's pro wrestling. I mean, the percentage of successful contract signings that have not gone awry are in single digits, I would imagine. But it was an effective from the heart promo from Bayley to Bianca, with Bayley talking about Remember when she used to have her side ponytail, and the girls used to put, they used to mimic her and put her ponytail to the side, and then the crowd started to turn on her, and her career went downward spiraling, and she had to claw and scratch to get everything that she earned, and the ladder is symbolic of her career that she slowly climbed to the top, where everything was handed to Bianca, and Bianca said obviously that's not true, that she wasn't just selected. It was very effective. I think both women did a very nice job, and hats off to both of them. And Corey Graves was overseeing this, if that matters to anyone. But during that back and forth scuttlebutt, we saw some footage of Dakota Kai and Io Sky attacking Alexa Bliss and Asuka backstage. This led to Bliss challenging Sky to a match after Asuka was left injured. This was really effective also on Asuka's part, with Asuka in tears, crying over the injury to her knee. When's the last time you saw anyone actually crying and make it look non-hokey and make it look real and make you feel empathy? I don't know the last time anyone actually cried. And that, to me, that was just, again, a small thing, but so effective. Just think of the two things I just mentioned. At least this was for me, and maybe it didn't bother you, affect you one way or the other. Saying I hate you from a son to a father, and then having the attack on Asuka and Alexa Bliss backstage with a chair wrapped around Asuka's knee from Io Sky, and having Asuka crying out in pain. That was awesome. Just a little bit of a tweak. Just basic stuff. It's amazing. Great. Loved it. And so this, as I said, led to Bliss challenging Io Sky to a match after Asuka was left injured with a steel chair attack. And then Belair accompanied Alexa to the ring to help even the odds. And then Bliss showed more aggression than she has in a while during this matchup. That was nice. Having Alexa also look at the camera that she just consciously knew was following her was weird at first, but it worked. And Io Sky started to make a comeback, and she eventually did win this, which was a bit surprising. But also, given where they've placed Alexa Bliss over the last couple of years, is it really? Now, Io Sky did hit her signature moonsault for the win here, and she's got a beautiful moonsault, by the way. It was just a good match. I didn't think it blew anybody out of the water, but it's nice to see Alexa Bliss get, the semi-main event of the show. It was nice. So there is that. But yeah, Alexa Bliss needs a bit of a kick in the ass, and I mean that in a character perspective, not in ring. Alexa Bliss has always been very sound and fun and really good in the ring. But from a character perspective, I don't know what she is. She's not the goddess. She has Lily, doesn't have Lily, but there's no more superpowers. She's not dark. Her music's kind of blasé. I don't know who or what Alexa Bliss is. She's just kind of this pretty, generic star wrestler, but currently you don't know who or what she is. She's just kind of existing. And that's not to say her career's finished or I'm down on her. I just don't know what to think of her. I don't know where they're going with her. And I know she's definitely capable of more. I was very upset. Well, I shouldn't say very. It's a bit overdramatic. I was disappointed when she was with The Fiend that they never gave her the Raw Women's Championship. I think she could have been an awesome champion. She did an awesome job with The Fiend. Now, if The Fiend ends up returning, do I think she'll go back with him? No, and I don't want her to. The reason is it would spiral Alexa right back into the same pattern she was in, where she suddenly has superpowers again. No one wants to see that again. They'd be foolish to bring Alexa Bliss if The Fiend returns. And so many ifs, right? I just don't want her involved with Bray Wyatt at all, unless it's, not even unless. I don't want her anywhere near him. She needs to forge her own path. She had a little fun with The Fiend. She became a big star. She did a good job with that whole side kind of character to The Fiend. But she needs to forge ahead with her own career and figure out who she is. She's not just this attachment and just, outgrowth of the Fiend. That's the thing. So anyway, I got way lost in the sauce, as I always do on the show. But Alexa Bliss loses here. Io Sky wins. And yeah, so let's see. Where are we going at next? Let's talk about Angelo Dawkins and Solo Sikoa. This, I believe, came right on before Alexa Bliss and Io Sky. I think it was the 5th match of the night. So following a backstage confrontation, Angelo Dawkins and Solo Sikoa met for a singles match. And Jay, by the way, still is getting in Sammy's face. This is going to come to blows. I really believe that. Here's my thought. I think Jay is going to catch Sammy doing something, and no one's going to believe Jay, and they're going to side with Sammy. And maybe Jay gets exiled from the group. I don't know. This is going to result in something happening with these two in a match, and it's going to ultimately result in Sami Zayn's full babyface turn. You could argue he's already one now, and my God, is he a breath of fresh air. Like, Sami Zayn is the MVP of the bloodline right now. He is the reason that fans don't just revolt completely against the Roman Reigns run, because it's not just about the Roman Reigns run. It's about Sami Zayn, and where's this going to end? And is he really accepted in the bloodline? And what's going to happen here? That is also and it's just such a fun new ingredient to this whole thing. Do I still want to see Roman Reigns lose his belt? Yeah, that does not change the fact that I want to see Roman lose his belt at all. Not one day more, right? For me anyway. I know lots of you out there that love this run. I'm over it like most. It's run its course. There's an expiration date. It's not like honey where there's no expiration date and it'll just never go bad. To me, this is done over with and I'm ready to move on. But just the Sami Zayn dynamic with Jay is a lot of fun, and it makes sense because it's realistic. Like, not everybody should trust Sami Zayn. And they don't. And it's nice to see that everyone's not just beloved by him or everyone loves him and he's just so accepted like automatically. Jay is the suspicious one. He's also the easily triggered one. He's the off the hinge. You never know what he's going to do. He could snap at any moment, just kind of always in a nasty mood. Dude, and I like it. It's such a cool dynamic, and you never know what's going to happen here. But there's so many things you could do with this, and I don't know if they know at this point. But okay, so as far as this goes with Sami Zayn, and or he was at ringside for Solo Sikoa's match against Angelo Dawkins. The match was good. It wasn't insanely good, but it was good, and nothing really negative I could say about it. It's nice to see Solo Sikoa immediately getting singles matches and not always being tied to the bloodline. Solo Sikoa has a very nice, naturally intimidating look to him. He looks like a dude that's in the cartel. I think I said that last week. He does, and I mean that in a complimentary way, where he's just got this kind of he's part of the mafia or something look. I know mafia and the cartel are two different things, but he's got. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe talking to myself is not the best thing sometimes. This was a good match, though. Solo Sikoa getting the victory with the spinning rock bottom, i.e. the spinning solo, I think they call it. I think it's the spinning solo. Made total sense with Angelo Dawkins taking the loss. And this was good because it also furthered the frustration between Sammy and Jay when they nearly cost Solo the match because they were bickering on the outside. So clearly a fun, progressive storyline that I am fully on board with. Sign me up. This is keeping the bloodline alive for me. So, all right, let's see here. Where are we going? Otis versus Johnny Gargano and Chad Gable versus Braun Strowman. Chad Gable was at ringside and Austin Theory was on commentary when Otis took on Gargano. Johnny used his quickness to avoid the big man, but Otis slammed him into the corner. Theory hit Gargano with the briefcase while the ref was looking the other way, so Otis was able to hit a huge slam for the victory. And then Braun Strowman ran down and took out Otis on his way to the ring before he got his hands on Gable. The winner is Otis. Strowman versus Gable was already taking place when the break, I guess there was a commercial break. By the way, if you couldn't tell, I'm reading this because this was not on Hulu. I saw the pictures and highlights very quickly. I saw the endings. So if it sounds like he's reading this, he didn't watch it. Yeah, that's because you can thank Hulu. But this had Braun Strowman getting the victory. I have to say, well, one thing. Gable did get in a lot of offense in this matchup. That's a good thing. But it was disappointing in that I thought this was going to bring out Braun Strowman's next real opponent, and it didn't. And I will be the first to admit that I was wrong last week. It was just yet another dominating win by Braun Strowman, who's already beaten Alpha Academy like very, very definitively. And he's already beaten Otis. He's beaten Gable. I think he beat them in a handicap match. Then he beat Gable again. It's just Strowman needs to find a direction. And beating up Alpha Academy is, after the first week, it's like, okay, cool. That's your introductory class. Now, where are we going? Where are we really going? And I don't think we have a direction yet. So Braun Strowman gets the victory in a kind of disappointing win, thinking that maybe, Omos was going to attack Braun Strowman or something, and we got not a whole lot. So this was a bit of a womp, womp, womp. I got to get sound effects on this show, guys. Maybe if I start a GoFundMe, I can afford the sound effects. All right. Riddle and Seth Rollins. Actually, before we get there, because that's a lot of fun, and I have a lot to say about that in a very positive way, I'm going to take a break because I got to give our sponsors of today's episode some love. And then on the backside, we're going to dive into the Candice LeRae and Nikki Cross, or i.e. Nikki ASH match. And of course, the beautiful segment of the night of Rollins and Matt Riddle. So stay right here. Are you looking for a change of pace in your normal podcast lineup that you have on your phone? Well, then check out the Protectors podcast. It's available on Buzzsprout, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and it's hosted by Jason Piccolo. And he's been in law enforcement for over 20 years. He's patrolled trafficking corridors as a U.S. border agent near San Diego. So what exactly does he do on this podcast? He interviews guests from best-selling authors to military heroes to everyday protectors. They're really fun. They have everyone from Jack Carr to Max Martini. There's over 370 episodes. I'd really recommend you guys check this out, guys. Very well done, very professional, and very listenable. It's called The Protectors Podcast, available on the Apple Podcast stream. It's available on Spotify or Google Podcasts, and of course, on Buzzsprout. Go check out The Protectors Podcast.
Are you a gamer looking for your clan? If you answered yes, there's a place absolutely perfect for you. It's called Clan Finder, online at clanfinder.gg. The website was founded by gamers who were committed to keeping the site updated with the latest titles, adding new features to further assist in advertising your community across the globe, and bringing on gaming studios that want to give back to their players. Helping support charities from around the world, Clan Finder helps gaming communities promote their organizations to fellow gamers who are looking for a place to call home. Long gone are the days when you had to scour forums, stem discussions, and sketchy websites to find a new gaming clan. Go to clanfinder.gg and search for your clan today. Clanfinder.gg.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
All right, everybody, let's continue on with Raw. And I realized before the break, I've been saying Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH. I meant Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai, not Nikki ASH. All right, so let's clear that up. There's a picture of Nikki ASH on my screen, and I meant to say Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai. So this match was good. Not as good as I feel it could have been, given what these two women are capable of. It ended with Dakota Kai getting the victory over Candice LeRae because of Bayley. So Dakota Kai was able to steal a victory here. And it was competitive, but I know that if they were given more time, this could have been a much, much better match. So, no hate here. Not every match is going to be a classic. Just it's not meant to be that way. That's fine. So Dakota Kai gets the victory. They're really, really just stacking up the victories here for the for this whole faction of Bayley's Damage Control, and that's great. So here we go. Here comes just an excellent segment. I love how WWE put the little wrinkle in this whole feud tonight or last night of the no contact clause, and that if they did, that match would be off on Saturday. This reminds me back in 2000 and was it 03? No. 02? I think it was 2002. No, I'm sorry. I'll get it. I think it was 2001. No Way Out. Yes, because Stone Cold had just come back from his injury in September, and then he was going on the hunt for who ran him down in the vehicle. And that rolled into 2001. And Triple H had been revealed to be the accomplice to Rikishi, who ran him down. That's a whole storyline I've never really dissected, which is really amazing, given that it was one of the more memorable ones from the early 2000s of who ran down Stone Cold. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. Those of you that know. So we got the whole no contact clause with Triple H and Austin after they signed the contract. They couldn't touch each other until the match itself, and if they did, Austin would never again be able to compete for a WWF championship. And if Triple H attacked Austin, he would have to, or he would be suspended for 6 months. And I loved that because it built anticipation. It built that pressure. It built that just that anxiousness to get to that match in the anticipation. So that, while it was only one night and not several weeks, it still was cool that you knew they weren't going to be able to touch each other, and how far could they push each other. And this was just so awesome. The way that they came at each other. Riddle came out right and said he was going to kill the Visionary. I'm never a fan of that word, because as extreme as it is, you're never, no pun intended, you're never going to be able to deliver on that ever. The fans know you're not going to deliver on that, of course. And I think Goldberg did this too. Didn't Goldberg say this last year or the year before? I forget who his opponent was, but in one of his programs, he said he was going to kill the person. I'm like, stop. Just it's unnecessary. I understand the verbiage. It's supposed to be just, it's kind of shock television or whatever. I don't know. So, but it was fine. Let's move on. Rollins mentioned that Riddle's, this was, oof. Rollins mentioned Riddle's kids and how he needs this payday to help pay for child support because he can't see his kids. Riddle countered with some remarks about Becky being more successful than he is. He's second in his own home. He's second. He'll come in second on Saturday. He never has main evented WrestleMania. Like, it was great. Really good stuff. And Daniel Cormier appeared in a video to say he would be the referee for the Fight Pit at Extreme Rules. Very, very much a taped segment. I don't care, but it was. But Daniel Cormier, honestly, came across semi-serious. He didn't look like he was winking and nodding and taking this as a joke. He took it seriously in saying that, you can't put any ordinary referee in this match. This is my environment, and this is where I thrive. And they said that, he's the only competitor in UFC to win the championship in 2 weight classes. I didn't really follow MMA that much, or with UFC, I didn't really follow it. And I mean, nothing against it. I really enjoy MMA, but, the good old time that I don't have. So, but this was just a really good segment. And both men, you felt like they were going to come to blows, and they didn't. And it just, again, see this. When's the last time Vince McMahon had a no contact clause? It's just so good. And again, I'm not crapping on Vince. He was a genius, and he gave us moments that we'll never forget and become part of our lives. But it's just to prove a point that putting somebody new in that position breeds new ideas by design. I mean, that's just what's going to happen when you put somebody new in. They have a different way of looking at things, and they add new wrinkles. Nothing overly dramatic. Vince has not, or rather Triple H has not done anything overly dramatic or just kind of just completely upheaving anything. It's just things here and there and there and here. That's what he's done, and it's been great. So this segment, though, with Seth and Riddle was just brilliant. I loved it. It really made you care about this fight pit match. And they also let you see what the fight pit looked like if you have never seen it before. That's so smart. Giving Daniel Cormier some actual content, some actual dialogue was nice. Then showing the fight pit. I think they showed it before this whole segment, but it was brilliant. It looks brutal. It looks... It's a steel cage match, but like another layer with kind of an overlay on the top that they're going to do crazy crap off of. And the great part of that about this is it implements rules that should be in place for a damn steel cage match, but it at least puts them in this matchup, which they should. The only way you can win is by knockout or by submission. No pinfalls. I love it. I mean, the pinfall thing, it's pro wrestling, so I would have been okay with also adding pinfalls, but escaping this thing doesn't allow you to win. So in other words, if you have cowardice, you can't use cowardice as a strategy to win a match. Imagine that being a actual strategy for these professional athletes, which is what steel cage matches are today. All you have to do is show who's the bigger coward, right? All you got to do is just say, I'm out of here. You just have to escape the cage to win, which, again, take 2 seconds to think about how dumb that is. And how does climbing over a structure prove you're the better man? So many things, right? Like, just think about how stupid it is that you can escape a cage and win when the purpose of the cage is to keep you in. So how is escaping the thing that's supposed to keep you in allow you to win? Anyway, I'm going to go on a rant. The great thing is this structure does not allow for that. So even if you are able to escape it, so what? You got to continue with the match. So this is going to be a brutal match. From what I hear, these two really don't like each other. At least that's what WWE wants us to think. And if that's true or not, I'm on board for it because it makes it more interesting. So I'll buy into it. And there's going to be some bruises. There might even be some accidental busted openness in this match because there's just too many objects around in that cage, in that fight pit to warrant no blood. I feel like the wrestling gods are shining down upon us for this match. It could be a very brutal match. And then on top of it, I thought about this. Seth Rollins also interjected himself into the United States Championship scene again by stomping Bobby Lashley. I'll get to that in a minute. So 2 days later, Lashley is going to go one-on-one with Seth on Monday Night Raw on the season premiere next week for the United States Championship. So regardless of what happens with Riddle in the fight pit, Rollins is immediately going to the United States Championship picture and facing Bobby Lashley on the season premiere. That could main event the show. We haven't been told where it's being placed. We haven't said the main event of next show is. It may be. If it is, Seth Rollins wins, by the way. And they also asked Bobby Lashley about his reign and how he's done such a great job as champion and all that. That tells me that if he's been champion for 3 months and they reminded us of that they may be ready to take it off of him. And that they just jolted Seth into this picture. It's very possible that Seth does win here next week. In fact, I'd actually say that Seth is the favorite. It's the season premiere. It kind of came out of nowhere with Seth and Bobby. It's just, I don't hate it, but it came out of nowhere. The match should be great. Riddle also said, when's the last time you won a title? That was good too. So, man, Seth Rollins, I would not want to live in Seth Rollins' body over the next 7 to 10 days. Oof, man, oh man. Okay, let's see. Bobby Lashley versus Mustafa Ali. This was nice because it took a guy that you literally forgot about in Ali. I mean, let's just be honest. Most of us did. And he brought you right back into the forefront of not only in a championship picture, but extremely competitive and showing toughness. it was almost like a rebirth for Ali. And he had some new hair, put it in braid, and just really had a kick-ass match with Lashley. Lashley tried to show some respect at the end to pick him up, and that's when Rollins struck and hit a stomp on Lashley, and then for good measure hit a stomp on Ali on the outside of the ring. And then Lashley was pissed backstage and said that, he'll put his title on the line, so there's no excuses. He wants Rollins next week, and he'll get him. So this will be an interesting matchup. The last time that those two met a few weeks ago, they had the match of the night. So I have no doubt that this would be any different. And I just don't know what this means. More importantly, really for me, is Ali. Does this reinvigorate his career? Was this a one-off? What is this? Just to get him some airtime and make him feel like he's earning his paycheck? I don't know. But Ali has been so all over the place. Remember, he used to be like the guy that would like roam the streets and he'd do promos talking about like life or something. And then he was mysteriously the leader of Retribution. That I think was something totally underutilized. And if it had been done right, Ali can talk very well, and he's very dislikable when he wants to be. And they could have done really good things with him, and it just went nowhere. So he kind of comes and goes and goes and comes, but he never has anything sustained. And maybe this is the start of something. At least with Triple H at the forefront, you have a little bit more hope for that. So that is nice. The 450 spot to Bobby Lashley's arm was also very brutal and was just a great spot. Okay, the Judgment Day took on Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles, and that was a good match. It opened the show, but it didn't really, I don't think, really like move this forward. It just kind of was there. As I said, with Rey Mysterio and Dominic, that's really the storyline I'm most focused on. Edge did cut a promo. Oh, by the way, Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles win. But we got Edge, who cut a promo in his favorite spot, which is like in the corner of some like ring ropes. I don't know. That's like, for some reason, Edge loves doing promos there. And he said that for the last, since his return, he has really shown us the side of Adam and not Edge or whatever. And that he doesn't know how much longer he can do this, and that it's starting to affect his family and, all that. And it seemed to come from a real place, and that's what made it really good. But he talked generally about the I Quit match with Finn Balor, and that, saying I quit just isn't in his DNA, and just cutting your typical good Edge promo that's, sitting in the ring by the turnbuckles. That's what he does. And it's his little like safe haven of a place, and it's a cool little visual. But I expect really good things from this I Quit match at Extreme Rules, but we'll save that for the full preview and prediction show. All right, so that pretty much covers Monday Night Raw. Let's get on to what I missed on the mailbag last week. So that means we get to talk to Mr. DJ Kuzmo, and we'll get to his email right now. And all right, and he says, "Hey Matt, WWE AEW podcast fam, DJ Kuzmo's back at it again on your mailbag show. Much more to say in the voicemail portion. We'll get to that. So Shotzi Blackheart is a face. Shotzi Blackheart is a face. As of last week, Friday night on SmackDown, and the prior week before, it seems like Shotzi has officially turned babyface. I'm okay with it since she really hasn't had a consistent showing on SmackDown since coming to the main roster last year. My question is, Shotzi replacing Aaliyah as Raquel's tag partner since Aaliyah got injured? Or is it just a one-off, and hopefully she gets to showcase more often with someone like Shayna or Lacey Evans or Natalya or Sonya? I hope it's the latter, because I am with you that Shotzi is just, she's fun to watch. She's different looking, and she sets herself apart. She's good in the ring. She's got a fieriness about her. So I hope it's the latter. Okay, it's coming. Last week, and yet again, Max Dupree teased a gimmick change to LA Knight after throwing a fit when the Maximum Male Models lost to the New Day, or as we in the Discord chat on Friday night would say, the Poo Day. Anyway, with that being said, when Max returns back to his LA Knight gimmick, do you see Maximum Male Models officially break up and stick with Maxine, or do they all get repackaged? Because to me, the main focus of the group is Max Dupree, aka LA Knight. Well, he's probably going back to LA Knight, but I would say that right now, what else are Massey and what was his name? I can't think of it. What are they both doing? Right? What are they both doing right now that is more important? The answer is nothing. Maxine and them they do have chemistry. I have really nothing to. It's been a guilty pleasure for me. It really has. So I hope they actually don't break up and Max Dupree goes to do whatever he wants to do. That's what I hope, because to me they need a lightheartedness about the show. I'm all for that, and right now it's that little kind of soft spot in the show. All right, what's going on? What is going on with Goldberg? WWE has been promoting him numerous times with clips and matches of the old Berg on YouTube. Shout out to Double J. He mentioned that this could possibly mean that Goldberg is returning in time for Crown Jewel. Oh boy, please. Yeah, I hope that's not the case. So I don't want anything to do with it. And I've heard rumors of that too. But if the Prince wants it, the Prince will get it. So I wouldn't put it past the dollars that WWE would get. Okay. What's going on with Malachi Black, i.e. Aleister Black? He's possibly returning to AEW after denying that he was leaving to join back with WWE. Whatever the case is for him, he definitely deserves a long break from wrestling. He's been in the business for over 20 years. I've heard about that too with Malachi Black, i.e. Aleister Black, coming back. I mean, I don't think they understood him. Vince didn't seem to understand Aleister Black very well, so he kind of was in and out of programs with nothing also consistent and nothing really major that he got involved in. If he needs a break, he needs a break, but we'll see. Lastly, what's going on with 923 at 923, i.e. the White Rabbit? This past Friday was 923, but at 923 there wasn't a sighting of the White Rabbit, which everyone is saying is Bray Wyatt. I like how Triple H and Creative are trying different ways of getting us to view, as viewers, to stay tuned for the next sighting or tease. Yeah, I like it too, but imagine, and I'm going to give credit where credit's due here. I'm not going to pretend that I came up with this. Michael Gross, the gardener, you guys remember him? He said, imagine if this whole thing's Adam Rose. Remember the whole bunny that came out when he came out in the Rosebuds? Imagine if the White Rabbit is just Adam Rose returning. Think about that. Oh my God. I mean, it's clearly not. But if I was Triple H, maybe I'd do that just to see the crowd's reaction and then actually bring out Bray Wyatt, destroy the bunnies, destroy Adam Rose, and then actually move on. But that is a possible thing. But not really. Okay. So yeah, catch you on the mailbag, and DJ, we'll get to your voicemail. Before we get to voicemail, I'm looking through and I'm like, yo, I missed a lot of emails from last week. I think that the whole live format really messed me up. And I do apologize. So I see emails. Oh boy. I see emails from Dennis O'Brien, Wes, Dennis again, Levi, Rocky T. You guys are sending me novels and I can't get to them I can't get to them tonight. But Rocky T, you said disregard last week's email, use this one. So Rocky T, I will use the one that you gave me to last night and send it on to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. But for those that sent them in last week, I still think they're relevant. So what I'll do, because I feel bad, you guys take all the time to write this, and I do want to address them. I will send them to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. So unless there's stuff you want to add, I'll forward them on to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. There's a couple that I just didn't quite get to. So I'll send Robert Nelson, Rocky T, Jeff from the Philippines, Levi, and Dennis O'Brien. I will send you, and I already have. Do I have Wes? Yeah, Wes. I know you sent one too. I'll send those to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan, guys. Okay, so there, make good. But let's end the show here with Mr. DJ Kuzmo and see what he's got to say, and then we'll say goodnight, the lights. So here we go.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your mailbag show, recorded to you live once again on a Tuesday evening. And folks, this is a special night. This is the 100th episode of the Mailbag. As DJ Khaled would say, they didn't believe in us. They didn't believe when we could get to 5 episodes. They didn't believe that when we could get to 20 episodes. They didn't believe when we could get to 30 episodes and to 50 episodes. But now we made it. We made it to the 100th episode of the Mailbag. Congratulate yourselves. Congratulations to Matt, to everybody that has been coming on the Mailbag faithfully every single week, even when I was away for those 3.5 months, because man, oh man, let's pop that champagne, let's get the birthday, let's get the celebration cake, let's get all the salutations and all of the well wishes, because guys, we made it to the 100th episode of the Mailbag. I can't imagine other wrestling podcasts doing what we're doing here with the Mailbag every single week, tirelessly, and Matt doing what he has to do to get the stuff recorded, falling asleep on the microphone at times, but still getting the listener's voice every single week, whether it's through the emails, whether it's through the phone, and of course my voice recording as well. And man, oh man, so shout out to everybody. You know who you are. Dennis McGinley, Randy the Patron, Justin from Maryland, Jeff from the Philippines, everybody, Grim Reaper who sends emails, even for my boy Rocky T from Houston, Texas. What's going on, baby? And man, oh man, let's continue to keep this going forward, because man, I want to see this continue for another 100 episodes, and as long as Matt has this WWE Unofficial Podcast, the Mailbag is the heart and soul of this platform that we call the WWE Unofficial Podcast. Shout out to everybody. Put your hands together for yourselves, because we all made it to this very 100 episode. Now, before I go, I want to leave this question with y'all. Now, I learned this terminology in professional wrestling a week ago, and it has something to do with the differences of a casual wrestling fan and a hardcore fan, or a mark. So I just realized that I'm a bridge fan. I'm a combination of a hardcore fan and a casual wrestling fan. So my question to you guys, to you, Matt, and to all the listeners, what kind of wrestling fan are you? Are you a casual wrestling fan? Are you a hardcore mark wrestling fan? Or are you a bridge? A bridge wrestling fan is somebody that is both either, a casual wrestling fan and a hardcore wrestling fan. And one more thing. I know my 3 minutes is up. But this is one more thing. Shout out to my boy Smashy. Shout out to Smashy. I miss you, brother. This one is for you, because my boy Veer Mahan is coming back, but he's not coming on the main roster. Shout out to my boy Smashy. He let me know that none other than Veer Mahan, my boy Veer Mahan, is going to be back in NXT as part of the tag team division, and I can't wait to report on that, because everything is looking so good. So, back to the 100 episode. Put your hands together for yourselves. To Matt, to everybody that comes on faithfully on the Mailbag, this is DJ Kuzmo. One more time, happy 100 episode. Peace, y'all. Have a blessed week.
All right. Well, yeah, it's a bit out of place, guys. I know it's a Raw review. We had our 100th episode of the Mailbag last week, and this week is 101. So, but nobody can match the energy of DJ. No doubt about it. You go from, basically myself, Bob Ross, to, the game show host or game show host style of DJ. It's quite the contrast, but it's great. So, okay, first of all, thank you for the 100 episodes, and it's not me, it's you guys. This show wouldn't exist without you. What am I going to do? Fake emails, mail them to myself, and then pretend people wrote in? That'd be insane, right? So you guys are definitely the reason that this is here. And again, I apologize for those that last week I mentioned you that didn't get answered, because the live format really screwed with my head, because I did 100 of them, 99 of them, without the live format, and after I recorded the live format, I'm like, oh, I'm done. Not thinking that, oh wait, I have a whole nother email account that I didn't answer. So that, again, I'll forward those on to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan for tomorrow, and they'll have that, and hopefully I'll be able to publish that late tomorrow night. So what kind of fan am I? I don't think I'd actually label myself as a hardcore fan. Even though I have a podcast and I do this as part of my living, I don't think I would, because to me, and again, it's subjective. I guess it depends how you define hardcore, casual, and bridge, because different definitions for different people. Here's how I define them. Hardcore watches everything. Everything. They look at all the news. They look at all the rumors. As MJF would say, rumors and innuendo. They love that stuff. They dive into it. They look at social media accounts. I'm not that. Not just because, even if I had the time, would I really want to dedicate it to all that stuff? No, I wouldn't. But that's how I would define a hardcore fan. They watch everything. I don't watch everything. I watch Raw and SmackDown, and I see some NXT highlights, and I also watch a little bit of AEW. That's it. And I follow the news because I have to, and because it's interesting to me, genuinely. But I would say I'm a bridge as well, because there are times when I'll dive in when I have to, but generally I'm on the kind of casual side. I'm like in can I create a new category? Maybe I'll create a new category because I can. I'm like an intense casual wrestling fan. Not the casual wrestling fan, of course. They're coming tomorrow with the misses, but I'm talking about the generic category of an intense casual wrestling fan. Or an impassioned casual wrestling fan, where I wouldn't say I'm like kind of lazy about watching, because I do watch every show of Raw and SmackDown, and I do this again for a part-time living. But I would say I'm also more intense and more, what's the word? Purposefully observant than the casual fan that just doesn't do this. Because if I'm like watching wrestling and I don't really pay attention, then I may miss details and I may miss things that I could have talked about on my show. And it also shows that I'm not paying attention to detail if I miss things. And then viewers are like, oh, this guy clearly doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, right? So there is that, where I have to make a conscious effort sometimes to watch the show in a way that doesn't allow me to fully enjoy it, and and just kind of forces me to look at things that I could talk about on the show. And sometimes that's fun, because I have a platform to vent, but other times it becomes laborious, because I have to sometimes force myself to watch a match or a show that I just have no interest in watching, and I'd rather be doing something else. So there is that. But I'd say I'm a passionate but intense casual fan, because I certainly don't watch everything and read everything. I just don't. So there's that. How about that? I gave you a category that you didn't even ask me for. Okay, so that is it for me tonight, guys. I appreciate everybody for following me, for continuing to help this show grow. Tell a friend about us. Give us a 5-star rating if you want. And also consider going ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast for $1 a month. Or Apple Podcasts, guys. We have an Apple Podcast feed too. If you have Apple Podcasts, like most of you I know do, we have about 75% of our listeners go from Apple. Ad-free is there for you. Just click of a button for 99 cents a month. Ad-free everything. Okay, that's enough. Let's get going. I'm going to head out. We're going to be back tomorrow with Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan, and then preview and prediction show. Again, I'm going to try to do a live show. I'll send out the link and all that later in the week. And then it's Extreme Rules, guys, this weekend. Get excited. Thanks so much for listening. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Are you a gamer looking for your clan? If you answered yes, there's a place absolutely perfect for you. It's called Clan Finder, online at clanfinder.gg. The website was founded by gamers who were committed to keeping the site updated with the latest titles, adding new features to further assist in advertising your community across the globe, and bringing on gaming studios that want to give back to their players. Helping support charities from around the world, Clan Finder helps gaming communities promote their organizations to fellow gamers who are looking for a place to call home. Long gone are the days when you had to scour forums, stem discussions, and sketchy websites to find a new gaming clan. Go to clanfinder.gg and search for your clan today. Clanfinder.gg.
Are you looking for a change of pace in your normal podcast lineup that you have on your phone? Well, then check out the Protectors Podcast. It's available on Buzzsprout, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and it's hosted by Jason Piccolo. And he's been in law enforcement for over 20 years. He's patrolled trafficking corridors as a U.S. border agent near San Diego. So what exactly does he do on this podcast? He interviews guests from best-selling authors to military heroes to everyday protectors. They're really fun. They have everyone from Jack Carr to Max Martini. There's over 370 episodes. I'd really recommend you guys check this out, guys. Very well done, very professional, and very listenable. It's called The Protectors Podcast, available on the Apple Podcast stream. It's available on Spotify or Google Podcasts, and of course on Buzzsprout. Go check out The Protectors Podcast.